Every essay needs an introduction, but an argumentative essay also clearly needs to set out the purpose of persuasion. So let's look at how to effectively craft an introduction for your argumentative essays. One thing I really recommend is to be as neutral as possible. Keep in mind that you are writing for a pretty general audience and you don't want to alienate those who disagree with you. And you want to keep every reader reading as long as possible. A neutral introduction will help you do those things. To be effective, an introduction really needs to do three things. It first and foremost needs to grab the reader's attention and make them want to keep reading. Then it needs to explain the argument or the issue, and it needs to clearly establish the focus of your essay. And one important thing I'd like you to remember, when you choose parts for your introduction, you can choose something like an interesting story that catches people's attention, but also lets them know that a problem needs to be solved. Basically, you're getting one story to serve two purposes in your introduction, and that helps you save words for later to help make your logic and reasoning better. The first thing that introduction needs to do, of course, is to hook the reader's attention. You can provide a relevant fact or statistic, a story or personal experience, or an interesting quote, and any of these suggestions will work to get people going into your essay. When it comes to statistics and facts, remember that specific is always better than general. We live in a culture that loves numbers. Pause the video and take a look at the example and notice how actual numbers attract more attention. When it comes to stories, you can use your own personal experiences or the experience of others. And above all, remember that real ones are better than make-believe or hypothetical any day. Pause the video for a minute and take a look at the examples. See how even a few details from a real story can draw in readers. Finally, you can use a quote, but remember that you have to be careful. Don't forget that you really don't want to alienate your readers who may disagree with you. Pause the video for a minute and take note of how the second quote is probably more suitable to a broad general audience. The second thing that your introduction needs to do is somehow define the argument. And basically, you can use three techniques alone or in combination, and most people tend to use them in some kind of combination. You can provide some sense of urgency, you can indicate the potential change at stake, and also note that some kind of disagreement exists. The first thing is to provide some sort of a sense of urgency. When I took a novel writing class, this was like lesson number 1 when you write those first pages. You want to give that feeling to your readers that something important is going on here. Remember to keep it current and up to date. Let them know what's really happening at the time. And let them know that some sort of problem exists. Are we wasting money, or is someone being hurt somehow? You can also indicate the possibility for change. Let your readers know how things stand now. For instance, what are the current laws or situations? Then show your readers what specific change your essay will examine. Finally, you can just show that a disagreement exists, perhaps by summarizing the two main sides. The final thing that your intro must do is establish the focus of your essay. It's that bridge between your introduction and your essay's body. You can, of course, use your claim, but remember that doing so, you can alienate readers who disagree with you. It can also be jarring from an organizational standpoint. If you switch from your claim immediately into the opposing views in the next paragraph, it can really disturb readers' flow how they're reading your essay. Also, keep in mind that a lot of times claims need evidence to be believable. And if you just put your claim at the end of that essay without any evidence, you've already put your argument on shaky grounds. You can set up your essay by simply ending with a statement indicating that a decision is needed. This neutral statement doesn't jar the readers when they move to the next paragraph, whether you present your own thoughts or those of others. And it just makes for a nice, smooth transition. Finally, you can ask a focusing question, asking how we should resolve the issue. It gently guides readers, no matter what organizational strategy you use, into the next paragraph, and it clearly establishes the purpose of your essay.